one-sided. Even though Manhwa team won in game 1, and Dante Yamanaka Teddy team won game 2, the third game was like, it was even. Either team could have won. They had a fair chance of winning. So it's not one-sided because all of them are very good players. And when you're playing team at that level, what really dominates, what makes the most impact is not individual skill level, but actually teamwork and planning and the macro strategy instead of the individual skill level of sniping, materia, and all of that stuff. And Raven's team did very good decisions, as Koala said. They came in late, so all they had to do was clean up. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, well done all around. I think even earlier on when we saw Juliet's team go against Ravens, you saw there was equal gameplay on both sides. Yeah. They were doing the same plays. So you saw the same thunders, the same fires, the same aero jumps, you saw everything. And it can come down to the end to positioning, where you land or whatever happens. And unfortunately, I think at that part there, you saw the team was sort of in the field, in the green, in the hazard zone there, right? Mm-hmm. So they got the bad end of that field. But yeah, you can see once again, like there's so much good gameplay on both sides and all teams. Like everyone is just, I think, playing at peak performance here. I think it's really cool.
I agree. I agree totally with you.
It's a very rare thing, especially for me, to see this many amazing players in one tournament, right? It's just so good to see. It's lovely.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed by how the C players here, even though the lesser known ones, like I've never heard of a Juliet team before, but in the Kuzi team, but like they're really performing well. They're holding their own really well. Even though they haven't won, I'm pretty impressed by their performance so far. And even in the late game, some people were getting killed by the hazard zone because it was so it's not because they were dumb or they were newbies, but it's because it's just so dangerous to be inside the safe zone at that point.
Yeah,
that's why you wanted to be outside.
Agreed. Yeah, completely agree with you. You've definitely got to pay attention to that timer. You've got to pay attention to that. So you kind of want to be one step ahead of that, especially I think very early on. I mean, this is probably a little bit of a hit and miss tactic, but because you just never know where that ring's going to shrink to. But if you're generally, I think I've kind of noticed if you're on the faster side from the beginning of the game, of the match, you kind of want to pay attention to that because it's probably going to be like that for the rest of the game. 50-50. But pay attention to that field because that thing can just knock you out like that, especially late game, as we all know.
Good point. I've never noticed that, but never noticed that. Yeah, it's probably
I'm a game developer. Always. I watch a lot of things.
So am I. I'm an indie game developer.
You are too. Yeah, you are too.
Right.
That's right.
Gray said he died in hazard zone. Yeah, because when you're caught up especially when you're in ADS, aim down scope, right? You don't see actually the map, so you don't see the hazard zone creeping in behind you. So hazard zone awareness, even that, I still get caught by the hazard zone in East Asia server when fights are so intense. You don't notice it. It's right behind you. And that's actually what kills your team.
Yeah, it's I mean, regardless of any server you're in, especially if that final, it's I don't know, it's a little bit rare for me to see these days, but that final ring, if you see that lasting a little bit longer than usual, when it starts shifting, you got to pay attention to that thing because you know how some people like playing the long game of just sitting there and then wait for the ring to move. Like you got to pay attention to that thing full front, especially like very very late game.
I have to hand it to the Gray Kadaj team. Kadaj was playing it smart. He was at the edges, letting the other people fight. But unfortunately, he got sandwiched and he was forced on the hazard zone. That was a good.
Yeah. I agree with you. It was a bit of a risk reward kind of situation there, right? You're risking it, but did it pay off in the end? Maybe not, but it is a tactic you can use, definitely. And because watching the field like that, I've done that a lot as well. I like to play games like that. Right. And I don't know if I'm that close to the to the hazard zone when that happens that late in the game, but it's early game usually. But it's a tactic you can use. What can I say? It's a game. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's difficult to judge whether or not that was a good decision because who knows? Maybe it could have paid off, right? It could have worked, but at that point, it was just so hard to tell. Of course, looking back now that we're analyzing it, it's easy to judge now. Oh, you should have done this, should have done that. But when you're playing there, right? You don't know. Maybe this is the best tactic. You don't know how it's gonna play out.
I completely agree. Agree with you completely because you just don't know, right? You're making snap decisions. Your brain's like firing on all cylinders when you're in that heated moment, especially when it's that close together with 4 teams. That I know my brain be doing that.